us in. Time having arrived, I call this meeting of the Brockton School Committee, January 21st, 2020, to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Appears everyone's here, so we have our quorum. There was no one that signed in for the hearing of visitors, so we'll continue on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda is the bundling of normally routine school committee business that kind of helps us keep the meeting going. Every member of the committee has a right to ask to take a agenda item out of the consent agenda for further discussion. Do we have any members who would like to take any items out of the consent agenda? Mr. Minicello.
Good evening, Mr. Vice Chair. I would like to take items B and C out of the consent agenda for individual discussion.
All right. B and C. Any other items from any other committee members? Ms. Asak.
I'd like to take item E.
Item E. Okay. And any other members have an item they'd like to take out? Okay. Do we have a motion on the remaining items of the consent agenda?
A motion to approve items A, B, F, G, and H.
Motion on the floor, properly seconded. All in favor? So moved. Mr. Minicello, you have the floor.
Good evening. I always like to take out of the consent agenda anything that I think is memorable and certainly worth further discussion. And we have a couple of items that certainly meet that criteria. The first item is a scholarship being presented for our former friend, Mayor Bill Carpenter, the Mayor Bill Carpenter Memorial Scholarship. Here present is also our good friend Julie Caldwell, Bill's lifetime partner and basically best friend and a friend of all of us. So presented this evening out of the generosity of the Carpenter family is a $500 scholarship, which will be open to a graduating senior that's been accepted at an accredited institution of higher learning. The requirements of the scholarship will be awarded on the basis of community involvement, academic performances, character, and need, an official transcript and completed financial aid form. Application and financial aid forms are certainly available on the website, and the applications must be received by April 15th. And they need to have a full packet. That should be sent to the attention of Julie Caldwell in the guidance department. And what's nice about this scholarship is that there's all sorts of different criteria, so that there could be, if a person has strengths in one area or may not in another, there's certainly opportunity for the person who's going to consider it to take into the flavor of things, the strengths as opposed to certain weaknesses. Someone might not be a stellar student, but there might be standout items of involvement that they participate in, that certainly the person should try and write a nice essay on why they feel that they have earned the scholarship. Oh, you're the best. Thank you. So the rookie schools the veteran in the mic. That's great. Good job. This is a nice scholarship, and we are very grateful for the generosity of the Carpenter family, and we certainly we know how big our friend Bill's personality was around here and around the city. I can think of no one better to name the scholarship after. I mean, my biggest, I think, laughs with Bill were when he had his radio show before he had any political office. But I think that people that remember Bill on the radio will never forget some of the comical shows and jokes and quips and quick wit. He always had everyone laughing and continued to make people laugh from in every job or capacity that he had in the city. So I thank the Carpenter family, and I think this is a great scholarship to keep Bill's memory and legacy going forward. Thank you, Julie, and the family. Tell everyone we said we appreciate it. So I don't know if anyone else wants to comment, but
Yeah, is there any other comment on the,
motion to,
Mrs. Sullivan?
I just wanted to say that, and because the community center is being presented tonight, and this is a community kind of a scholarship too, the student has to write a short essay explaining how community involvement has impacted their life in a positive way, and I think that Mayor Carpenter did that. So that's a really cool scholarship. Thank you.
I completely agree with that. In fact, one of the things I think is great that that's part of the criteria is because there are so many people in this community that were impacted by Bill's service to this community as a school committee member and then ultimately as our mayor. He certainly made an impact on all of us that live here. So this is a great remembrance of him, and, you know, thank you. Any
Yeah,
other?
Thank you to the Carpenter family for this. It means a lot to the school district, and how far I go back with Bill and the family from my days at East Smith Junior High at the time. So this means a lot. We really appreciate it.
Mr. Sullivan?
I just wanted to say, Bill Carpenter was the first person I met on the school committee. I think it was 10 years ago. I'm not even sure.
Yeah, it was
2010. And he turned out to be the best advocate for this high school. I'm really gonna miss him. He was excellent on the school committee, an excellent mayor. And I just wish he was here today. It just doesn't seem right without him. He was a good guy. Thank you.
All right, any other comments? Do we have a motion? Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Okay.
Item D, Mr. Vice Chair, is another generous scholarship from the Euphrates family. I briefly met with Mrs. Euphrates, Mary Alice, and her family, her son, and grandchildren. And here we have another generous donation, a scholarship, which will be initiated for 5 years, and at that time they will reassess and see where things are at. But Mr. Euphrates was a 1958 Brockton High School graduate and football player. He attended Stonehill College. He was also a math teacher for over 40 years here at the high school and an athletic manager for 30 years. So he certainly affected a lot of lives and a lot of students here. In fact, as I recall, I think I did not have Mr. Euphrates, but I believe my wife did. So I will mention it to her tonight when I go home. Oh, you didn't hit my button again. Oh, boy, all right.
Junior slacking.
It's called senility. So, yeah, so this is a very nice scholarship, and we certainly appreciate the generosity of the Euphrates family. With regard to eligibility, the requirements for this scholarship are that applicants must be a member of the graduating class of Brockton High School, of good spiritual character, and an athletic scholar in need of financial support. Further, the applicant must be attending Stonehill College freshman year. Naturally, the applicant can be male or female, and the application and financial aid form can be obtained on the school website. Again, the deadline to write a brief essay on the values of academics and sports athletics is April 15th. So not only is that the deadline for all of us for our taxes, but it's the deadline for the students with regard to their applications. So they also are going to feel some urgency to get certain things done. Again, the applications should be sent to Julie Caldwell in the guidance department. So we really do appreciate that. We're so glad that both families are here tonight.
it's really a wonderful thing in terms of having the legacy of your loved one carry on. And certainly, both families, their loved ones affected a ton of lives here in the city of Brockton. So we can't really express our generosity any more than this, but, we thank you and, really appreciate your involvement and you wanting to continue to help the students of the school system. Very much appreciated. Thank you all for coming.
All right. Any additional comments from the committee?
I actually had Mr. Euphrates in the math, so I want to thank the family as well. This is very generous and very much appreciated.
Yeah, I agree. Anytime we have an opportunity where someone wants to give back and help current students further their education, it's wonderful to see people do that, and so, again, really appreciate it. All right, if there's no other comments, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the Francis A. Yeafrady Memorial Scholarship.
Second by Mrs. Sullivan. All in favor? So moved. Ms. Asak, I believe the floor is yours for item E.
Thank you, Vice Chair. So, letter E, approval of BHS DECA Overnight Conference in Boston. I just wanted to just point this out because we have 7 students and 2 chaperones that'll be attending the DECA competition February 27th and 29th in Boston. And we just wanted to wish them luck, and it's always wonderful to see some of our students, go to competition. And DECA is an amazing program, and we are looking to eventually get that going up at
Yes.
Rocks. So just wanted to point that out and just wish them luck and let everyone know that, keep them in your thoughts as they're competing out there. So we can, there's no
Any other comment on this item? I would like to just comment, I mean, we have a wonderful DECA program. I'm sure that they will do a wonderful job, and regardless of, regardless, we'll be very proud of how they represent the district and the city. So, any other comments? If not, entertain a motion.
motion to approve the BHS DECA Overnight Conference in Boston.
All right, we have a motion properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? So moved. Okay, we have under communication, we have one item that is in enclosure number 9. We have a request from the Elections Commission to use certain school buildings for the upcoming 2020 election season. These are buildings that they customarily have used in most every election. But if the committee wants to take a chance to review the request and we'll entertain any discussion or motion on this matter.
I do have one question. So on November, they're looking to use some of the schools March 3rd, September 1st, and November 3rd. Obviously, November 3rd, we don't have school that day. My only concern is having people come into the schools during the school while our students are there, as far as safety.
So, so that the only day that will happen, this March 3rd, my birthday,
Happy birthday, we're gonna have an
anybody-
election that day.
Anybody wants to?
You didn't want to give everybody the day off to
Just-
celebrate?
No, unfortunately, yes. Yeah. So March 3rd, September 1st, there will not be students in the building that day. We haven't, obviously, I'll bring the calendar to you when we approve it, but maybe teachers will be here, but not students. And obviously, we close on November 3rd. So for March 3rd, so this past primary season, you brought concerns to me. Kim Gibson brought concerns to me that teachers expressed. So what we did do, I worked with Aldo, and we did fund the police department to put an extra officer that was assigned. So you have every polling location has one police officer already assigned. We added a second one this year that was directly there for safety and security of the school. There's one officer that has to remain with the ballot boxes. That's always the case. So, and that person has to stay right there. That officer has to stay there. So this year, we added a second to every school that had a polling location. And it was a Brockton police officer, and they were assigned basically for the safety and security and did whatever the principal needed them to do. They helped with traffic before school and after school, but then obviously stayed in the building and worked with the principal for any security concerns, actually, and that went very well. So we will do that again for March 3rd. So we have that extra security there.
Great, all right.
Okay. I mean, I know we're working on it, but hopefully eventually we can try to not have them at our schools.
Yeah.
I mean, we're building these, double entrances for safety and, election day, everybody and their uncle can just walk right in.
So I think it's worth, as we get through after March 3rd, I think it's worth a conversation with the Elections Commission, and we can invite them to come and talk about, whether we change locations or whether we discuss, I mean, this year it works out for the next school year. It works out for September 1st and November 3rd, but going forward, when the primary is on a school day, we need to talk about what we do with whether we cancel school that day as well, not have a school day, and how we should go forward, or whether they do move to other buildings, which would be difficult as well, because
Yeah.
I guess they're limited on, I know they use the War Memorial, they use a couple of non-school buildings that do belong to the city, but they have very few locations to move to.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, I mean, some of these buildings, my thought was, geez, could we do the voting, in a gym or somewhere?
That's another discussion we should have.
Yeah, but not all of them are set up in such a way that it would lend themselves to public access to those rooms, but some might, so maybe if there's other locations on some, and then other areas where we could do that, I think you're right, it warrants future discussion, for future, for maybe
Absolutely.
the next time around.
Because I'm looking at a couple of them that I know of that definitely they do, other than November, they usually go to the gym. So as far as March 3rd, as long as none of these schools are affected as far as their cafeteria,
Yeah, that's
we
been the issue.
haven't run into that in
We
a
haven't been
while.
able to have them we try to move them into locations where it doesn't disrupt the running of the school, the use of the cafeteria. But that's obviously, once we get through the 3rd, make sure we definitely put the extra police officer on.
Okay.
But I think, we can actually talk to the Elections Commission that if we do have to have elections in the schools, and it's a school day, there may be better locations to move them to, and there's some work we would have to do with facilities, but that's usually just adding extra electrical outlets to run the machines, but, that wouldn't be that big of a deal.
So do we have any other comment or discussion on this matter? A motion?
Motion to approve the request from the Executive Director of Elections Commission to
Use the requested.
use the requested schools. You need me to list all the schools?
I don't think so, no. Do we? As record,
Yeah, you might as well.
Okay, so to use the requested schools for Tuesday, March 3rd, 2020, September 1st, 2020, and November 3rd, 2020, as follows. We have the Kennedy Elementary, South Middle School, Ashfield Elementary, Gilmore Elementary, East Middle School, North Middle School, Downey Elementary, Hancock Elementary, West Middle School, Davis Elementary, Brookfield Elementary, and Raymond Elementary.
Second.
all right, motion on the floor, properly seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All right, so moved. And before we go to the next item, I apologize to the mayor. I should have mentioned that he is unable to join us because he is representing the city in Washington DC. And so we wish him safe travels and appreciate his, representing the city. Moving along to the report of the superintendent of schools, and I will turn it over to Superintendent Thomas.
Thank you, appreciate that. I'm going to turn it over to our student, Georgina Eunice, to give us the update of what's going on at Brockton High and any other things going on with students around the school system.
Good evening, Superintendent and school committee members. Thank you for having me here tonight. On Thursday, January 16th, Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito visited Brockton High and spent time with students enrolled in the Healthcare Innovation Pathways program. She was able to tour the classrooms as well as speak with students. Recently, many students competed in a school-wide National History Day. This year's theme is Breaking Barriers in History. The students who have placed will continue to compete in regional and statewide competitions. Earlier today, the top 50 students in the junior class had the opportunity to attend an informational meeting hosted by a Harvard student. These students gained insight into the college application process. Also, just a reminder that this Thursday, January 3rd, is a half day throughout the Brockton Public Schools. Lastly, this Friday in the Brockton High School Gymnasium, the basketball court will be dedicated to Victor M. Ortiz, who worked as a guidance counselor and basketball coach in the Brockton school system. The dedication ceremony will take place at 6:50 p.m. before the basketball game. Thank you again for all your support.
Thank you.
Great.
Nice job.
Thank you very much.
So next, I want to bring up Dr. Jim Cobbs, and then members of the Oversight Committee that had been working with Dr. Cobbs and myself on the North Community Center that we presented at the Facility Subcommittee meeting. So we have with us Ollie Spears, Tony Donegan, Nancy Centers. We have Anita Lenny Montero and Cicely Shaw. There's a couple other members of the committee that Dr. Cobbs will announce, but they'll just pretty much go over the report they gave the Facilities Subcommittee. But I want to thank, this is all volunteer. They do not get paid a dime for putting this whole thing together. And it's something that was important for us to get done for the community. So the school system is supporting the community, providing services to the community, and obviously using a school that is going to be closed in June, and keep it basically active until the construction starts, so it doesn't stay empty. So I really appreciate the committee's hard work, and they've been meeting for months, putting this all together and vetting providers and making sure everybody is queried through the Brockton Public Schools and vetted, and they've really put a lot of time in. They meet every Thursday night for at least 2 hours over at North from 6:30 usually to 8:30. So we really appreciate all your hard work, so I'll let them take it from here.
Thank you, Superintendent. I'll introduce the members of the committee. Obviously, Superintendent Thomas and myself are members of the committee. Ollie Spears is the co-chair. Nancy Centers is the other co-chair. I have, who else is Cicely Shaw is with us. She's our secretary. Lenny is one of our providers and on the committee. Tony Donegan is on the committee. And Tina Cardoso couldn't be here tonight as well. As Superintendent Thomas said, this has been quite a process and quite a project, but it really is designed to be a community center for the community, driven by community members, and services provided to community members free. So we're facilitating by giving them a building and helping make sure they have what they need to provide services for students. I'll let Ellie go through some of the list of the providers and the services that they provide, but we currently have 16 providers that have been vetted and queried and ready to go. We will open the program with a grand opening on the 30th, next Thursday night at 6:30. And we will have the opening for the providers to start providing services on February 3rd.
I have a little speech.
Okay.
All right. Sorry. Greetings, everyone. First off, I would like to say congratulations to Mark D'Agostino being vice chair.
Oh, thank you.
Definitely. And then also, I'd like to congratulate newly elected Cynthia Rivers Mendez from Ward 2 and Tony A. Rodriguez. And thank you, everybody else, for letting me be here tonight. I would also like to thank all the members of the school committee tonight for allowing me to speak before you. I have the great honor of working with our new superintendent and my friend Michael Thomas, Dr. Cobbs, Executive Director of Operations, and 6 other members of the North Junior High Community Center Oversight Committee. This committee was created to have oversight, create policy, procedures for the use of the community, the future community center. The committee members are myself, Ollie J. Spears, chair, co-chair Nancy, Herman Centers, Secretary Cecily Shaw, City Councilor Tina Cardoza, Ivy Carabello, Tony Duigan, and Anita Lenny Montero. In the past several months, our group has worked to help make the North Middle School transition into our community center for use after hours. This trend-setting endeavor has never been done in our community. However, this is an initiative that's spreading throughout our country. Our superintendent had a vision of having a community center that was operated, led, and utilized by the community. Upon learning of this idea, we all volunteered to make this vision a reality. The Brockton Community and Family Center is for the community, ran by the community, and organized by the community members. Programs offered by our community members are a wide spectrum of programs, things such as women's support groups, father support groups, youth development initiatives, Zumba, yoga, STEM, robotics, arts, theater, ELS, and more. On the educational front, our superintendent will support our efforts to offer free tutoring for our students. Chartwell will provide free dinner on weeknights, Monday through Thursdays. At the end of the day, this is something from which all Brockton and the citizens will benefit. This will make our community better and stronger. The best part of all the programs are free and every citizen for every citizen in Brockton. Thank you, Ollie. And some of the programs we have, is it harder here? Is it me? Hold on. It's me? I'm going to pull out this rag. Hold on 1 minute. All right. So we have the Cape Verdean Women United, Family Connections, Baraneza Project, Elite Sport, Youth Sports, C Plan, Health, Imperative Special Education Room, Choice for Teens, Women in the Mirror, College Possible LLC, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Inc., the Wellness Journey Studio, Sabuda, We Do Care, Love Life Foundation, Brockton Parent Initiative, and Jenny Theater Productions. So those are some of the programs that we're going to have. We're going to start small with these programs, and then we'll expand in the next 30 to 45 days.
All right. Any comments from members of the committee? Mr. Minicello.
There you go. Just want to say thank you for certainly your volunteerism. We appreciate all the assistance that we can get. And obviously, you have a great group of people that you're involved with, will serve as great role models. So anytime we can gain community support and involve, I guess, broaden the net, as they say, widen the scope. The more good people involved in the school system, it only benefits everybody, the students, the staff, all of us. I mean, because it's so much better to get ideas when you have the perspective and views of different people. And I just think that what you're doing is going to be very beneficial, and we appreciate it.
Mr. Sullivan.
Yes, I just wanted to say, I thought it was a great idea. I'm not sure who thought of the idea first, was it Mike Thomas or Dr. Cobb? It was a fabulous idea. It was Mike?
Yep. Superintendent.
Mike, you're turning red. But the idea of putting somebody in an empty school, so you don't have kids hanging around, breaking windows, breaking into the doors, or doing drugs or anything. This solves that whole problem. And I just wanted to say I thought it was a great idea. And thank you to all who are getting involved. Nice job.
Ms. Asak.
Thank you. We had met with you a little earlier, so you had mentioned some of the, what the program involved. So I just wanted to, once again, thank you, and thank you, team. It's such a diverse group of programs, and they're covering so much, and this is just the beginning. So I can't imagine, once the word gets out, that there are so many other groups that are going to want to be part of this, and it's wonderful. It's going to be learning for the adults, it's going to be learning for the students, it's going to be bringing our community together.
Learning for the school
Because, yeah, a lot of people are going to be, it's going to be wonderful for the school system, and you're bringing a lot of families that normally wouldn't be meeting each other, and you're going to be building other relationships by having this program. So thank you again, and we are looking forward to seeing you next week at the grand opening. So thank you. And again, I believe you mentioned earlier, previously, that this was going to be a link on BPS, our Brockton Public Schools website, so they'll be able to see a calendar of events that are going on.
Correct.
So now, is it a first come, first serve, or what happens if these classes get full really fast? Because, you know, these rooms are only so big, so.
Right, well, that's up to the providers, that they'll sign up their own people ahead of time, and if, you know, most of the providers, they're not gonna be using the space every night, all the hours, so they'll be able to share their spaces with other new, providers that wanna come in with new programs and initiatives, so the way it works out is not every space will be used all the time, so we can accommodate other people.
No, definitely looking forward to it. It's definitely a positive for our city and definitely for BPS to be part of this.
And just so people know, the system that you sign into Brockton High School is called Lobby Guard. It will be at North. You can use during the day as well for visitors, but it will be used at night. So there's a record of everybody coming in to the building. It also helps us keep a track of how many people are utilizing the community center. It helps with safety and security, obviously, so after, everybody has to enter, actually, they'll be entering through a side door that we've set up with an entrance, and they'll come through the lobby guard system, and then obviously be allowed to enter and go to the community center, but that will help us not only for safety and security, but also track how many people are taking advantage of this, because it will print out a roster every night of how many people are signing into the program.
That's good to know. I wondered about
Yep.
that. I wondered
Yep.
how they're going to control who's in there. So that's good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And a side note also, this isn't just a drop-off center. We want to make sure that the families are involved, and that was a big priority for all of us, to make sure that the families are involved, that you're just not dropping off your kids and taking off and going shopping. You got to sign your kids in, you got to come in, you got to participate in some of the programs. Unless you're in 8th grade and above, then you could come in by yourself. But anybody 7th grade and under, you have to come with your company with your parent or guardian.
Yeah, it can't, it's not a babysitting service, basically, it's, community center for you to come and basically take part of it as a parent that is looking for assistance, looking for support, in all kinds of different areas, so it's very important.
Resources. I know my coach here, she's working with Soraya.
Yeah.
Yeah, working with Soraya and Janice Plummer with, the deep Department of Transition. So if people need help with food stamps or things like that, they can sign up, and there'll be a little designated area off to the side where they can get assistance, and like with the tutoring. So we're gonna have all types of different programs that's really gonna help the community. Like, sometimes parents can't get down to Central after hours. We'll have a satellite office at North for some of the programs.
Yeah, Janice is Janice Johnson Plumer. She works with families to make sure that they're signed up for assistance. Aldo started that 3 or 4 years ago. A lot of times she just gets the families that actually come to the Parent Information Center to register, but this way she can actually reach out to families that are coming into community center as well. So Soraya DeBarros is part of this, as long as with Janice as well.
Our parent engagement specialist.
Yes.
Soraya.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, Soraya Presima, yes. Yep, she's part of it as
So
well.
you guys are covering pretty much
the
everything
bases.
from
Community
tutoring
services,
to helping the parents get out
Community
and get involved
resources.
as far as the resources in our community.
Absolutely.
So which is, it's
That was the
definitely
design.
going to be, this is definitely a
Definitely a
plus.
one-stop shop, and you can eat too.
And you can
You can eat too, yeah.
Hot meals every night.
Hot meal, yes, absolutely.
Ms. Mendez.
So the system that you were speaking about, Mike, is that where tutors sign up how is the tutoring sign up gonna work? And are they gonna be specific tutors that have gone through the Corey, through
So
the
the
Brockton
tutors are
Public
ours, so everybody has to be quarried, no matter who they are. If they're an adult that is volunteering, providing services, they have to be quarried, approved by the Brockton Public Schools Human Resources Department. But all the tutors that'll be working with, helping students with math, English, either elementary, middle school, or high school, will all be Brockton Public Schools teachers. So that ad is going out for teachers to work at the community center, but there'll also be two what we call house managers scheduled for each night who are also Brockton Public Schools teachers or employees that will cover the safety and security of the building just in case there's an emergency, access to the phone, access to areas of the building if they have to get somewhere, but also just the eyes and the ears of the school department to make sure the building is running smoothly. Also, the Brockton School Police, because we have the extra offices now, the 5 offices that we just put on this last spring, there will be an officer assigned when the community center is open from 5:30 to 9:30. That officer will be assigned to stay at the community center as well. And I mentioned at the earlier meeting, at the facilities subcommittee meeting, I'm working with the police department as part of their community policing grant through the Shannon grant, that we would have also the Brockton Police take a role in this as well as being a community partner. So, but the lobby guard system is like the one at the high school, so anybody coming into the building to use the community center has to go through this lobby guard, which actually makes a record that they're there, takes a picture of their license, and also keeps a record of actually who's coming, and they have to sign out when they leave. So it's just a clear record who's in the building all the time, and it also helps us with attendance and make sure how many people are utilizing the community center.
Mrs. Sullivan?
Okay, would there be some kind of, how would parents know what the rules are? Would there be a code of conduct or a parent
It'll
handbook?
be posted on the website,
Okay.
absolutely. And we'll have an agreement that parents, when each provider will inform them of what the program is and what the requirements are. Yeah.
Okay, like rules for pickup and
Yes,
stuff like that?
absolutely.
Okay, good.
Well, as long as if they're first kindergarten to 7th grade, it's no pickup. Parents have to be, stay at the
But
location.
8th grade on, still
Eighth
gotta be
grade,
picked
right,
up.
picked up, right.
Yep.
Mr. Sullivan, did you have another comment?
Yeah, I just, if we could go over one more time the grand opening and dedication, the time.
It will be next Thursday, the 30th at 6:30. The grand opening at North Middle School in the auditorium.
Dedication as well?
Yeah, and we'll send Jessica, we wanted to get through this meeting first, and then Jessica will do an invitation and a flyer that she'll send out, and she'll get out within the next 2 days. She'll get that out by Thursday. Today's Tuesday, right? Tuesday.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
It'll
gotta
be
get
by
out quickly.
Thursday, and then she'll make sure that's emailed to everyone here, the city council, the mayor. We'll also invite state legislatures.
And it's open to the public, everybody's invited. Yeah.
So I'll just finish up if there's no other comments from the committee. Again, I want to thank all of the volunteers who put their time into planning this. You've been several months of discussions and meetings and all of the groundwork to make this happen. I want to make sure people realize that this has been, a lot of work for you guys over, what would it be, probably 4 months, 5?
I had a full head of hair when it started.
Exactly. Yeah, it's been a long time
A
coming.
long time.
Hasn't been that long, Ollie.
He didn't have a full head of hair when I had him at 13 years old.
But no, really, you guys have put a lot of time just to get to this point, and now we'll get it off the ground, and now the real work starts, and so again, I really appreciate everything that you guys have done so far and everything that you will be doing to make this a success, which I know it's going to be. This will, one of the things I like about it, again, run by the community, and this will be a great resource for the community, so I hope everybody in the community makes sure to take advantage of the opportunities and the resources that'll be there, because this is going to be wonderful for so many people in the city. Again, I mentioned earlier in the facilities meeting when we talked about this that For me, my first learning of this, I'm going to make Mike blush again, of this was when I met with the superintendent with a list of concerns some parents had put together for me, and a lot of it was addressed or in the process of being addressed with this idea. While we still have other things from that list to work on, this was a big step in a good direction on a lot of those concerns that I had been approached about. So thank you again to the volunteers and everybody, Dr. Cobbs and everybody else who's put their time into this. This will be great. All right.
Thank you.
You want a motion, Mike?
I don't think we really need it because we rent the building
Maybe
out all
accept
the
the
time.
report of the
Yeah, we could accept the
facilities.
report of the facilities subcommittee. Why don't we do that? Will we do a
Yeah,
motion to
okay.
accept?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the report from the Facility Subcommittee of today for this community center at North Junior High.
Do we have a second? All right, we have a motion properly seconded. All in favor? So moved. All right.
So next, I have an update on the upcoming district review. So I'll bring Dr. Ethan Cancel to go over the schedule that's coming up. The district review for this year will be March 2nd through March 5th. That's a Monday through Thursday. Ethan's been working very hard on this, but I also want to thank June Saber-McGuire and Sharon Wolder, Aldo Petronio, who actually hasn't done much because he just got back. So he will be doing a lot coming up. But so far, Dr. Cobbs, Jim Cobbs, and Kathy Moran. So there's been a lot of work on the self-study that has to go on. I also want to thank the school committee because we met last week and we did our own self-assessment. And also, I want to thank also Kim Gibson, who is going to be spending a lot of time on this as well with our teachers. So that's coming up. So I'll have Ethan give you an overview and pretty much go over what he went over last week at the curriculum subcommittee, and then talk about the visit that's coming up on March 2nd and what your role will be in actually you'll all be interviewed, and he's going to go over that date and times for you as well.
Great.
Thank you, Mike. So here we go. Mike basically gave you the short version of it. I'll just bore you for a while. So here's the story with the district review. It comes from research that talks about the importance of the role of the school in the district. And if there's a concerted district-wide focus, which aligns all the systems in the service of improving student performance and outcomes, that's a good thing. They also, let me just press this. If they're demonstrated by clear standards for performance and goals for improvement, and if there's an ongoing cyclical process for measuring progress. Those are the sorts of things that are important to districts. There's some basic things that they're looking for. They're going to look at the systems and the policies and practices that drive the day-to-day of the school. They're going to take a look at the factors that help or hinder staff performance and ultimately student performance and outcomes, and the ways, this is a new emphasis, the ways districts work to improve equity for all students. So, I went over, there are 6 standards and 21 indicators. I don't think that you need to have all 21 indicators. You have copies, but here are the basic standards. They're the core functions of a district: leadership and governance, curriculum and instruction, assessment, human resources and professional development, and student support. And finally, Aldo's piece, financial and asset management. So those are the 6 areas that they're going to review us in, and there are 21 indicators under these standards. In terms of the data collection, we send them many documents. They read many, many, many documents. They're going to interview students, administrators, teachers, and all of you. as you can see. And I should have said families, parents as well, parents and guardians. They will observe classroom instruction. It's important to note that they will be in many, many classrooms. They do not evaluate individual teachers. They just take a look and see what the instruction looks like. They will also interview our turnaround partners if necessary, and they're excited about this opportunity, which really tells you how well the department talks one hand to the other. All right, and this is the schedule. This is the part that is very important. All of us, January 31st, the self-assessment is due. We've been working on it. Apparently everyone but Aldo, who's been in the Caribbean. Just in time for Mike's fabulous birthday present, the visit, March 2nd to the 5th. And then in 3 to 4 months, the final report is expected from the department. So that is the schedule. So I did want to remind you that during that on-site visit, you will all be invited to be interviewed by the district review team, and Melinda will be sending you all the invitations to that. So that should be a great opportunity for you to help spread the word. Mike is really framing this as an opportunity for us. It really is a chance for us to learn from objective outsiders how we're doing in our job of supporting schools and students. And so we want people to understand what the process is. This is not like in the old days when it was a gotcha and, we thought that the department was coming to get us. It's not like that at all. It's just basically doing research and indicating how we're doing. During it, parents should know, teachers should know, you should be aware of it. You should be saying, this is a great opportunity for us. We can see what we need to invest in. We need to, that doesn't just mean financial investments, but it means invest our time, our energy, our people. And then afterwards, Mike has a plan, thanks to Michelle Connors. We're going to be doing a after-action activity. You basically review what the report says, and then the district design team is going to be working on how to incorporate that into our ongoing district plans. So, with that, the final slide.
Okay. Any comment from the committee? Okay.
So right now, I think they're scheduled for March 4th
I think so.
at 5:30 to 6:30. And Melinda will send this, she'll confirm tomorrow, but just so you can start thinking about it. So March 4th, 5:30 to 6:30 would be the meetings with you. So it would be at Central, and then they would probably break you up into, there's usually how many members? 10, Ethan? About up to 8 to 10 people that come and do the review? Not that big, maybe 8?
No, this year it probably will be about 10. It's a decent-sized group.
So they might interview you together, two of them might take two of you into another conference room and talk to you that way. So they'll do it the way they want to do it, but that would be basically March 4th between 5:30 and 6:30. And Ethan will check to make sure that, we will check with the attorney and with the Department of Education to make sure, to see if that has to be posted. It might not have to be, it might have to be, whatever we need to do legally. For open meeting law, we'll make sure that it gets posted if necessary, but we will check with Kevin Bresnahan and also the Department of Education on that. Where it's an interview, we're not sure, but we'll obviously do what we need to do legally to post that.
All right. Yeah, we had our discussion about this last week and the self-assessment. And again, I think I'll just reiterate that, I think given the obstacles that we have faced over the last 8 years, I think, as a committee, we have faced a lot of challenges together and with teamwork and, done the best we could to overcome a lot of things. And we've had, partners with administration and the union and all the other bargaining units and their members. And so it really has been, a team effort to, keep things going the last 8 years. So, but that was basically the short version of our discussion on the self-assessment. All right. So that's it for the...
Thank you, Dr. Cancel. Appreciate it. So now, Ethan mentioned the district design team, which is newly formed this year when I became superintendent. So I want my co-chair, Doreen Pinkham, to come up to the table. But I also want anybody here that's a member of the district design team. There's 30 members. But if you can come up and sit in the front row, please, for us, so Doreen can introduce you and then also read the rest of the, that's everybody. That's June. That's everybody who's on the team. Come on up. Don't be shy. Ethan, that's you too. And that's our union president, VEA president, Kim Gibson, is coming up as well. So,
Yes, you do.
so just to give you some quick background information on how the design team was developed. As you know, I spent 10 years at Brockton High School as a department head, as assistant dean and dean. Back then they were called assistant housemaster and housemaster. So I spent 10 years with Dr. Zakowitz and what they called, and Sharon was with us, and a lot of the members, Cindy and Michelle as well. We spent 10 years on the restructuring committee that was put together back basically in, I think, 99. I went up to the high school and I got there in 2001. And it was basically the think tank for Dr. Zakowitz, and it actually helped at the time when MCAS first came in and students needed to pass MCAS to graduate. This committee was put together not only to look at this Brockton High School schedule, but all kinds of other things students were struggling with and how we could make them successful. So this design team, the restructuring committee was so successful at the high school and made Brockton High an award-winning model school for several years. And so I wanted to take that model and bring it throughout the district. So there are 30 members. We put a job ad out when I was going through the transition with Kathy Smith. We put the ad out the end of last May. And we wanted teachers, administrators, we wanted every subject area represented, we wanted every level represented, and we wanted the committee to work together to look at how we best look at supporting students and offering professional development. It's one of several teams that obviously operates around the district. It's not the only thing that happens, but it helps us get the message out to schools, helps us keep the focus on the work we're doing within the district. So right now, this last couple of sessions, we studied the last district review, which has been very helpful. The next couple of meetings that we've had, so we meet at least twice a month. We also meet on Saturdays, so I want to thank all the committee members for the time they put in, especially on Saturday mornings. We met 2 weeks ago on a Saturday. And nobody missed a meeting unless they were sick. I mean, and I think we had all but one person there. So they're very dedicated, very, interested in making sure the district moves forward in a positive way of working together, making sure everybody's voice is heard, and making sure the messages are getting back to their colleagues in the school so people understand what's going on, especially in such a big school system. With so many staff members, it's important to keep a focus, and it's important for the communication to get back to the teachers who are teaching in the classrooms and obviously doing the hard work every day. So again, there's principals on the team, there's associate principals, there's a union president, there's department heads, teachers, myself, I'm the co-chair with Doreen, so it's a very active group. There's executive directors on, Sharon, June, Ethan, I don't know if I'm missing any other executive directors, but it's a big group of, I think I'm 30. Am I right about 30?
believe
Yep.
so.
So now I'm going to let Doreen and Kim and anybody else who wants to chime in start to talk.
Well, we do have 30 members here besides Ethan and Michelle. We have Cindy Burns, we have Candy, and we have Sharon and June, and Darlene and Kelly Jones. A nice representation of our team. Like Mike said, besides administrators and teachers, it allows us to be able to bring the communication back to the schools through staff meetings, et cetera. To piggyback on what Ethan was just talking about, what we are working on right now is taking a look at the last district review, the 2013 district review. So we've been reading it, analyzing it, breaking up into small groups, taking a look at what were the strengths that were picked up at the time, how are we doing now with those strengths, what were the challenges and the weaknesses that were identified in that review, and how are those looking right now, and just having really good discussions on what has happened since 2013 and where do we have to go from here to prepare for the beginning of March, next district review.
So the next thing we'll be working on is actually have the turnaround schools. We'll be coming in on, in our next couple of meetings to present what the turnaround plans are and to present those to the committee, so the committee has an understanding of what the turnaround teams at each school are going through. That also will help us drive the district work, because the turnaround plans, and June and Sharon and Ethan and some members here are part of those turnaround schools that have spent a lot of time working on the turnaround plans with the state. So it's important for everybody in the system to understand what those turnaround plans are, and turnaround plans are pretty much about which good instruction is and professional development. So it's important for this committee to get an overview of what's going on in the district, what has been going on in the district, and make sure that we keep a clear focus. It's also it helps me not only as a new superintendent, but going into this, we have a 3-year plan we have to develop for the new Student Opportunity Act, and has to be developed with the school committee, has to be developed with this design team, with teachers, with all stakeholders, and it has to be presented that way, and they'll help us with the 3-year plan. They'll also help with this latest district review that is coming up, and also part of my new superintendent induction program. As you know from Kathy Smith before me, you have to come up with a strategic plan, basically a blueprint for the district, how you're going to continue to improve. And this team will help me for that as well, is to come up with a blueprint for the district, how are you going to continue to improve, focus on the students that we really have struggling academically, but also socially and emotionally. So we also have I said teachers, but we also have adjustment counselors, guidance counselors on the committee. And, you know, it's an important group it's very active, very involved, and we're learning a lot about the system that somebody at the high school doesn't know what's going on at East, or doesn't know something that might be going on in the bilingual program at the elementary schools, and somebody at the elementary school doesn't know what the high school's doing for their work. So it really helps bring people together and understand what we're doing at each school and also at the different levels. And it also helps people understand what's going on at Central, rather than stuff just coming down from these people at these offices and they're putting stuff down, and why things get to classrooms and get to teachers, and how best at Central we can support what's going on in the classrooms as well. So I want to thank this group. They've actually done a great job. They work hard, and for the members of the committee that haven't been able to make it tonight, it's, you know, and it's everybody's, the good thing about, and this was learned when we were at the high school, it didn't matter if you were the principal, it doesn't matter if you're the superintendent, when you're in the committee, you're just a member. So everybody has to take constructive criticism, and somebody can say something that you might not like, but, you know, you're a part of the committee. And also we have norms. So if you're somebody that doesn't agree with somebody, or somebody brings up an idea and you don't think that's going to work, that's fine if you want to kind of shoot it down, but you better have another idea to replace it. So that's kind of one of the norms we follow, that, you know, if you didn't like somebody's idea, that's fine, express what you don't like about it, but you better have a solution. if that's something you don't agree with. So that's, it's been healthy discussion and good debate, and it's worked well so far.
Great. Well, it sounds like, this will be also helpful for us as, the Student Opportunity Act, as those funds come in, hopefully. It'll give us some guidance too as to, where we can most effectively use those dollars in the district, and, having, all this input will be very, very helpful on that. So I know we all appreciate everything you guys do every day, and this additional work is appreciated. Any comments from anybody on the committee? Okay. Oh, Mr. Minicello.
I just want to compliment all of you. The best way to obviously have effective change is to have buy-in from, the entire system, and that's what you're basically doing. That's a very broad group of individuals affecting, all levels of the system, and we saw that in different schools that were successful because the school themselves had buy-in from all of the teaching staff. And I think that effective change will come from, the broad involvement of so many, so everyone feels basically included. And this is a work product of the whole, as rather than the few select, so to speak. So when everyone's included, everyone benefits and everyone feels part of the process of improvement. So this is I think, a very effective method of going forward. So keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, Mr. Sullivan.
I just want to be brief and thank each and every one of you for I don't know how he gets people to come out and volunteer on a Saturday.
We
did it.
Committed.
Yeah.
I just wanted to thank you. And without you, we couldn't have got anything done. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments? All right.
Thank you all. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming tonight. So that brings us to, that's still under my report, correct?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
So that brings us to the work we did earlier tonight with the facility subcommittee meeting, and it's also important work. I know that Mr. Minicello has spoken about this quite often over the last several years with Mayor Carpenter before he passed, and with several city council members and a lot of you, the importance of renovation of Brockton High School. So the MSBA, Mass School Building Authority, has opened up the statement of interest application period to apply for renovation projects, or new school building projects. It's called their core program that opened on January 8th. Applications are due by April 8th, and we need approved votes from the school committee first, and then from the city council to allow me to submit a statement of interest on behalf of the city of Brockton. So this is the first step. Obviously, if you want to have some discussion about it, then we have a motion that has to be made, following MSBA guidelines, because these minutes have to be submitted along with the city council minutes once they're certified by the clerk, have to be submitted along with the application before April 8th, before the deadline. So I'll leave it up to any discussion.
All right. Anybody want to discuss the matter before? Any comment from the committee? All right. Well, we did have a discussion. Oh, Mr. Minicello.
This is definitely a topic that is near and dear to a lot of us. School committee man Brett Gormley was also part of the discussion before he left, in terms of seeing the need as all of the past and current committee members on the committee. Brockton High is long overdue for a renovation to bring the school up to the standards that really most of the communities surrounding us now have. We still have deficiencies, certainly with respect to technology. with just even still leaks in certain areas. Updates with regard to the condition of sound systems, the condition of our labs, the lack of space. This school needs a full renovation. We have issues here in this fine arts building that require some serious renovations that are going to be very costly due to substances that are no longer allowed to be used and have to be taken care of with great care and under great supervision and with great cost. And so the kids in this community really need a state-of-the-art facility, just like our surrounding communities. We have, basic needs with regard to, just, heat in certain areas, electrical upgrades that need to be done. I mean, this facility is old, and just, you could talk to a number of people about, the heat or lack thereof in certain areas of this building, especially in the front office. The electrical upgrades that need to be done, our electricians for the city can give you a list a mile long in terms of the wiring that needs to be upgraded. So it's really, there's a lot of things behind the walls that need to be done, in addition to, obviously, the cosmetic deficiencies and lack of, again, technology that we need to upgrade this place with. The issue with Brockton High is that this is one of the most used buildings in the entire city, not just for the schools, but for community events, community meetings. This facility, this campus, is used pretty much 24/7. There's always something going on here, and it's basically taken its toll, but the community benefits so much from this building and this whole campus that we need to finally give it the attention that it requires. I mean, during heavy rains, you can still see areas that buckets are used to collect water. I mean, it's really ridiculous. So it's long overdue, and it's something that we all know has to be done. And I think that we have support on the city side in terms of funding for that. So the sooner we get this in the queue, the better for the students, the staff, and the entire community who will benefit, totally will benefit. We also need, as we all know, to me, an additional building here with regard to STEM and science to keep us in pace with where the country is basically going. Math, science, STEM. We need to be competitive. Our kids need to be competitive as well. We also need to have some career type of programs that may not be for the student who plans to go to college, but plans to have a career in certain professions that don't require a college diploma, but that we certainly the shop type of areas and the professions that certificates and are very well-paying positions in the electrical field are something that we really need to address and have space for to enhance our current schedule of classes. Those types of professions and curriculum will benefit a ton of kids who just don't feel like going to college, but yet are bright and can get out into the workforce a lot quicker, but make really, really good money. $50,000 to $60,000 off the bat with some of these types of professions. So, just because you don't have a college degree, try to get a good electrician or a good plumber. Or, let me tell you, those people are making very good money. Very good money, and they make their own schedule. Try to get one to come to your house when you need one. So, but yeah, and those are the types of things. Certainly healthcare. We need space for that type of an investment in our kids. So, I'm in full support of it, and I think many of us. I think really, it's pretty much unanimous. So we'll do whatever we need to do to get it pushed forward.
Mr. Sullivan.
I just wanted to add that the way this program works, 80% of it is picked up by the state, and only 20% is by the city of Brockton. but we benefit 100% of the 80/20. And we don't even have actual figures. In the subcommittee, we were talking like 350,000, or 350 million.
It could be, what we were saying in, the subcommittee is that once you get accepted into the program, the MSBA will put you through almost a full year of a vetting process with members of teaching staff, the school committee, the city council. They actually do a whole, they call a feasibility study, and they would give you different options about adding a building and just, whether you would, keep this building or build a new one. They'll talk about everything from soup to nuts to make sure it's fully vetted. So when finally you get approved for the full funding, you've had a full, a lot of discussions with the community, parents, school committee, city council, all the stakeholders, the teachers, to see what this building will come back as after a renovation. So, and like Mr. Minicello said, they'll spend time on STEM, they'll spend time on college career, things that we cannot offer our students because we just don't have the facility to do that. So they'll spend at least a year on the vetting process before they even go into the basically the blueprint stage. So it's a process that it's going to take a while, but like Mr. Minicello said, we want to get an early start and get this thing in and get moving. So this is the first step.
Yeah, the first step of a lengthy vetting process, which obviously is a good thing to make sure that we've looked at all the options and, covered our bases to make sure we do this right. And to Mr. Minicello's point of the additional programs, that we'd like to be able to offer, there's only so much we can do in a 50-year-old building where everything is 50 years old. The new Brockton High is not so new, and so it's definitely time to take a look at this, and hopefully in the end we'll be able to offer a lot more than we can now. Either with if it's decided a new facility or a fully renovated facility. There's definitely limitations on what we can do and what we can offer, currently in the building. So we'll, look to, take this first step forward and go from there. Any other comments from the committee?
But Mr. Sullivan's correct. We do get the most reimbursement you can possibly get under the law. 80% is the most the MSBA gives you, and we are at the 80%. So the city would be on the hook for 20% of the cost, but the state picks up 80% of construction costs and all other costs associated with architectural fees and construction documents, all those things that go into a project of this size. The project manager's fees, all that gets picked up 80% by the MSBA. So you're right, that's the most you can get for a city or town.
The other thing, Aldo was talking about, there'd be no need of a debt exclusion, that there is ways of paying for this?
I guess, that would be the city side would have to go in front of them to determine what there is a lot of things coming off the city, but I would leave that for the city council to discuss with the bonding capacity and with their, obviously with the CFO. So in the investment bank, I'm sure with a project this size, it could be anywhere between 300 to 400 million. I think that's something I don't want to say because it's going to have to be handed over to the CFO. But you're right, the CFO has said there are, over the next 10 years, there is a lot of things coming off the books that would benefit the city. Exactly.
Yeah, I think the timing will probably be very key there as to when we're ready to start and where they are financially on that side of the budget. But, further discussion for sure on that part of it.
Yep.
All right.
I think
I got the motion.
he's got the motion from Melinda Gaten.
All right.
If you're ready for it.
I think we are.
The motion is to authorize the superintendent to submit to the Massachusetts School Building Authority the statement of interest form dated April 8, 2020 for Brockton High School at 470 Forest Ave, Brockton, Massachusetts, which describes and explains the following deficiencies in the priority categories for which an application may be submitted to the Massachusetts School Building Authority in the future. Brockton High School full renovation, and hereby further specify and acknowledges that by submitting this statement of interest form, the Massachusetts School Building Authority in no way guarantees the acceptance or the approval of an application, the awarding of a grant, or any other funding commitment from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, or commits to the city, town, regional school district to filing an application for funding with the Massachusetts School Building Authority.
All right.
We need a second?
Yes, we do. Do we have a second on that motion? Second. All right, we have a motion properly seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? So moved.
Thank you. And then finally, under my report is the discussion from tonight's facilities subcommittee meeting. I'll have Aldo come up to the visitors table to talk about the proposal for the virtual school to be located at 836 North Main Street, which is a former Rockland Trust building that we spoke about tonight that is being offered to us by the owner for $916.87 a month.
67 cents.
What is it, 67
67
cents?
cents.
So we basically discussed, basically, right now, we provide students with home teaching. There are several students who are on home teaching for a variety of reasons. Most of it is because they've either picked up felony charges, or they've been excluded from school for some reason, or they can't attend school for medical reasons. Right now, what we provide them is 3 hours a week, which is legally covers us under the Department of Education, but really doesn't do or give the students, much, more than, it's just not enough. We're just not doing enough to educate these students. Again, legally, it's enough under Department of Ed, but it doesn't do enough to give them access to curriculum to be able to have them keep up with their classmates who are attending school every day. So this would provide 3 hours a day of instruction online with our new online program. To be located at this location, there'd be a certified staff member there. There'd be support staff there. We would rotate in special education teachers and bilingual teachers if needed. We'd have 3 sessions, a morning 3-hour session, an afternoon 3-hour session, and then a late afternoon session, which would support our Champion City students students charged with felonies that we have to obviously provide curriculum support and access to the curriculum as they continue with their education. So this will also allow us to possibly bring back some of our homeschooled students who we do not receive any Chapter 70 money for, who are basically on homeschooling but on a virtual program that their parents are providing them, and we'd hope to be able to bring those students back into the system, and also be able to maybe have some of the surrounding towns ask us to allow their students, and they would pay us tuition for those students to attend this virtual school. So Val will go over the numbers, and we obviously will answer any questions that weren't discussed at the facilities subcommittee meeting.
Sure. In estimating potential revenues for this program, what we looked at was just from our student base, I assumed even a minimum of 10 students coming back into our programs that have left our programs, that have, not partaken into night school or whatnot. If we pick up 10 of them, our home teaching program, we spend right now a minimum of about, I think last year's $149,000, but we have spent as much as $200,000 a year on home teaching services. So again, that would be brought back in to this facility. Homeschooling, we have 11 students that are currently homeschooled. If they had could come back, or even parents could feel that this could supplement what they're doing at home, we could pick up Chapter 70 for those students if they were ours. As the superintendent said, teaching services to other districts. some districts around us are small and don't have the capacity to take care of even one or two of their students. I factored in about 3 students from surrounding districts that we could provide services to. And then the Greenfield Virtual Academy, which you might see on TV every now and then, but they provide a virtual academy to students all over the state. We currently pay for 18 students of ours that are using that program. That's costing us almost $150,000 a year alone, just those students. It would be to their benefit to sign up for our virtual academy because they have an actual location right in Brockton they could go to with questions and help and see someone. So just among those few revenues, I passed out a sheet earlier, I've got close to $600,000 in revenues coming in from a program like that. On the expense side, as the superintendent said, the facility, the owner of the building was looking to actually donate this to us. He wants to do something for the city. He's a city businessman. His accountant in the mix said he's not able to write off those donations. So what we did was we worked out what we considered was just a minimal lease. So $900 a month transpires to $11,000 a year, which this property alone is worth 3 times that amount. And that's from speaking to brokers in town. So the owner is really making a great donation for Brockton, and he has an interest in the school system. He and she, it's a husband and wife. I factored in basic utilities, gas, electric that we pay at all our schools, security, our fob system for opening and closing doors, some maintenance on the interior of the building, the exterior, maintaining the bushes and the parking lot. If there's a pothole or whatnot, we'll fix. Any major repairs we've discussed with the owner, like if there's a leak in the roof, then that's, something the landlord would be responsible for. A dumpster for our waste. We would have 1 certified staff in there, 1 non-certified staff, like an MTA, 1 custodian. We'd have a few hours of overtime every day built in. And overall, the expenses come out to about $172,000 a year. So with this project, if we were able to pull this off, we're looking at about $400,000 savings to our school system for a lot of what we're already expending now. So again, that's assuming we bring in these students back to us that are out there. So either way, this could easily be a success as soon as we open. We'll have some one-time costs. We'll have to go in and remove the, it's a bank, so remove the bulletproof plexiglass that's in there and maybe change some of the walls a little bit. Our staff can do this, make one of the bathrooms handicapped accessible. Again, our plumbers, our interior staff could do this. So it, some painting, some ceiling tiles, all stuff that we do in-house. That'll be basically our what I consider minimal investment in making this property work. But it's a great building. It's a brick building. It's not a wood structure. It's been there for a number of years. Everyone knows the facility. And it's got great access to 2 major roads for our buses and vans to pull in and out of. I think that what makes this work is that the landlord is really willing to do something for the city of Brockton, so that we don't have to go out and find a location or go out to bid for a location and end up with something that's going to cost us probably 3 times this amount.
So I started this last year. Kathy talked about this often, and so I started looking at buildings almost 2 years ago, and the old CVS on the south side, the Webster Bank on the east side, the old Rite Aid on the east side. We've talked to a lot of landlords trying to figure out, and really nobody was interested in, other than the $2,500 or $3,000 a month that they wanted to get us in there for. It just wasn't feasible. So basically, this came to us, and obviously when we got the price, obviously Aldo had to work with the attorney to make sure no procurement law obviously was being followed. And so that's why the price has to be below $35,000 for a 3-year lease.
Correct. If it's under $35,000 for 3-year lease, we can just do it.
So that's where we got to this point. And again, the main thing I think we have to focus on is that I think it can bring us revenue from kids coming back into the system, but the thing it really does is provides with our current students, who there are probably over about 150 students who are on home teaching that, again, are getting 3 hours a week. because pretty much that's what we have to do through the Department of Ed, but it's not enough. And this would provide much more educational services to the students that actually cannot come to school for various reasons of either discipline, or felony charges, or other things that, anxiety issues that they're not, with a school of 4,000, that they can't, it just provides another space, and it's outside of a school, which, I think works well.
For a motion to move forward.
Or any discussion?
Yeah, any discussion from the members of the committee?
Just
Mr.
one
Sullivan.
little bit. I just wanted to mention that this program, I talked to the superintendent, he was saying at least 100 kids a year are leaving to go to that K-12 online school. And when that happens, you lose the Chapter 70 money. It goes with the student. This is a way to recoup that money, to get them back. I just think it was a fabulous idea.
Correct. You see those commercials on TV every day now, trying to get students to go to the K-12, but it's in the middle of who knows where. At least this way here,
It's right
Brockton
here.
students know it's in Brockton.
Yep.
Right.
If they want to go in and actually see someone or actually use a computer, they'll be there, they can use them.
And I think that also it gets them the support that they won't have at, again, they have their parents at home if they're doing online, but it also, if a student's struggling with social and emotional issues, we have the ability to send an adjustment counselor there to work with the student, where we're not sending an adjustment counselor to the home if a student's struggling with those issues. A teacher in the online center could see that, and then obviously make a phone call and have an adjustment counselor come over, or the teacher would recognize if this student is struggling and may need special ed services and they've never been evaluated for an IEP, and this teacher would be able to see that and say, you know what, I think this student's struggling, and we need to have the student tested for, additional services, where that wouldn't happen in the home either, if they're not our students. So it does provide extra opportunities to help us support students as well.
And a couple of things that I think are great about this. We take these students that are getting now 3 hours a week of educational time, and they're getting 3 hours a day. That's going to be huge. I mean, night and day, the difference there. As well as, with these online schools, if there's a problem, where's the oversight? Who do you go to? Again, this is being run by our local school district here. The oversight is right here with administration and the school committee, and if there's a concern that a parent has, they know where to come. We're here twice a month. So I think that that's also a benefit versus this online school that, again, who's running it, where are they, what do you do if there's a problem, if there's a concern? There's a few benefits there.
You have to go through the 75 menus on your phone.
Right.
To actually get to somebody to
Yeah,
actually talk to.
press 1 for this, exactly. And also, it takes a building that is sitting vacant and puts that back into an active building in the neighborhood, which is always going to be a benefit to a neighborhood. Anytime you can take a vacated property and get that active again and back in use, that's going to be beneficial to the neighborhood. So, lots of benefits for everybody in doing this. So, with that, unless there's any other comment, entertain a motion. All right, and motion to approve by Mr. Minicello, seconded by Mr. Sullivan. All in favor? So moved. All right. Do we have any items to refer to subcommittee this evening? Any items to refer to subcommittee? Going once, going twice. No. All right. Okay, with that, I think we'll move on to unfinished business and the recognition of the outgoing vice chairman.
Yeah, so actually, we want to present to the outgoing chair, Mr. Minicello, who served as the vice chair for 10 years. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. For 8 of those 10 years were very tough times. 8 of those 10 years, we cut $68 million total from a school budget. And Tom did everything possible to make sure as many programs and services and teachers stayed in the classrooms as possible. So every time this committee, and he was the vice chair of that committee, every decision that I've ever seen Tom make was in the best interest of students. And that was very difficult to do when we were cutting and cutting and cutting. And again, 8 out of those 10 years that Tom was only 2 years that we did not see layoffs. But it was always done in the best interest of kids, and not only about the budget, but Tom served on all the negotiating teams with the twice with the BEA, at least twice that I know of since I've been downtown, with the IBB process 3 times. So, so those were, some 30, 40 meetings to go through. So 3 times he served on the negotiating committee with the BEA, which, as Kim knows and everybody can tell you, it's hard work. It's a lot of hours, a lot of all-night hours, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of care goes into that as well. So, again, I can't say enough about, this is my 10th year at Central, so I've been fortunate to work with Mr. Minicello during that time. And again, during very tough times, he always kept the student at the forefront. So we thank you for that. We really appreciate it.
And I know we all have a few comments we're going to want to go around. I want to say, too, in addition to 8 years of layoffs and difficult budgets, and also committee members that have come and gone. And the year I came on, you had 4 new people come on, and Mr. Minicello and Mr. Sullivan and Mrs. Sullivan had to shoulder a lot of the work and mentoring of us during that time too, and immediately with a difficult budget coming right out of that, and so it was another, again, probably difficult time to be the vice chairman and be a leader on the committee, to have so many new people come in at the same time like that. And, I have always, in my 4 years on the committee, looked to Mr. Minicello as a mentor, and a mentor that sometimes I should probably listen to about more. I definitely am filling huge shoes, and am very quickly learning just how much work this has been for you for the last 10 years. It really, 10 years is a long time to have put the kind of work in that you have, and I mean it when I say I've looked to you as a mentor in my time on the committee, and I'm really appreciative of everything you've done and the time I've been on the committee. So.
And one more thing I'll add before we go around that Tom also saw us through some personal difficult times. Obviously, last year we lost our mayor, and a few years before that we lost a school committee member, a sitting school committee member, Michael Healy, yes, that we were very close to. So those were 2 tough times for the committee, and not easy times emotionally. And Tom saw us through those hard times as well. So, yes, not many committees deal with the death of 2 members over the years, and this committee had to deal with that during Tom's time as vice chair, and those are difficult times.
Yeah, he's certainly been an amazing leader on this committee. Okay, so comment. I believe Ms. Asak put her hand up first, so we'll start with you.
I just wanted to say thank you, Mr. Minicello. Just to echo what Mr. D'Agostino and Superintendent Thomas have said, a little over 4 years ago, you had brand-new school committee members, 4 new members, and you pretty much took us under your wing and helped us through some pretty difficult budgets. And we've learned a lot, and we appreciate everything that you've given to us. Being chair for 10 years, it's a lot of work. People do not realize how much work goes into this. So we really appreciate it, and we know you're always going to be here for us, and you might cheer back again. I mean, I don't know about smiling, but. No, but I just wanted to say thank you, and we really appreciate it, and all the time that you put into that. People don't realize all the meetings that go into it between the mayor and the superintendent, and just meetings that happen that are just not at our school committee meeting to prepare us, and you know, you were our voice, and you still are our voice, as we're all one committee. So we really appreciate it, and thank you.
All right, and I believe Mr. Sullivan.
I just want to say thank you, Tom. At these school committee meetings, as you know, when it's full, there's something wrong. And you handled every single meeting without any problems. You were great at it. You're a perfect leader. I'm sorry to see you leave.
Go on here.
Right, he's still.
Lead the position. I thought you did a great job for the whole time you were here. It seems like a lifetime. Thank you.
All right, Mrs. Sullivan.
Okay. Mr. Michello, I read a big, long thing last time. Tonight, I'm going to thank you for your professionalism, your respect, and he was always a good listener. So, listen to the notes from last time, and you'll see. We really love you.
Yes, we all did have some very nice things to say about you at the last meeting.
I can't remember them.
Could add them into this
Watch
meeting.
the meeting, you'll hear what we said.
Can I respond?
We were a hit on YouTube with
So, I apologize for not being here at the last meeting. However, we did have a family medical emergency that has resulted in a very good outcome. It couldn't be better, so that was good. That was very good news, but I just couldn't be here. However, I did watch the last meeting with my wife, with Mrs. Minnie, and I looked to her and I said, "Did I die?" I said, "Wow." I said, and she was laughing. She was going, "Well, it's really nice what they were saying." I said, "Yeah." I said, but jeepers creepers, you know. So I did listen, and I do appreciate everything that was said. It was very, very nice. And Mrs. Sullivan, you really outdid yourself.
Thank you.
So let me just say a couple of things. Being, vice chair for 10 years was a privilege, really. I enjoyed it. This is going to be my 13th year starting in. In the first year, when I was elected, and I'm looking to the new school committee people, was not fun at all, because when I came on board, it wasn't a welcoming place to a new school committee person who unseated a long-term member. The other members weren't too happy about it. The superintendent was not happy about it, because at the time, not the superintendent, but the superintendent at the time, because everything, budgets were good, and people did what they wanted, and no one questioned much of anything, just things happened. Then along came the big mouth little Italian guy, so whatever. So it was a different climate. It was not welcoming. So when I became vice chair, after a couple of years, things changed, because I wanted to make sure the new members, didn't get what I got, I wanted to make sure that the new members know that they're part of a team, no matter what, election time, you and I had a nice conversation, whatever is going to happen, happens, and we go forward and we do the job we need to do for the kids, and that's what we all do. So, I mean, some of the nice things that were said in terms of along the years to having to do what I had to do, I didn't do it all alone. I did it with all my fellow members. I mean, you know, Joyce, Timmy, Judy, and all the other members, past and present, you know, wonderful people. We did this together, and we are in this together. We don't agree on everything. I mean, there's been some very important votes along the way that we unfortunately had to do that weren't popular. They're not popular when you have to deal with a big budget deficit and you have to, you know, consider closing programs or closing schools. You're not a popular person, I can tell you that. And like Mr. Sullivan said, when there's a ton of people out there, it's usually not because it's good times. You know, when there's not a lot of people out here, things are fine, things are going along. When a lot of people show up, that's when the heat's on, because people are kind of mad about something, you know, and want to make sure that what they want happens or doesn't happen. So sometimes it's not popular being an elected official, and you have to make decisions that you know are going to benefit the system of a whole, so that you can preserve these different types of programs, not eliminate band, not eliminate all the sports, because you know if you just look at if you just look at things sort of in a with a small lens, we need to have smaller class sizes, we need to have more teachers. Okay, do you want to eliminate all the sports programs for everybody so that we can have a ton more teachers? Do you want to eliminate the shops and the band and all that good stuff so we can have more teachers? That's a very easy thing to do. Cut out all extracurricular. Other school systems have done it. They go to fees. Kids have to pay fees to play sports. They have to pay fees to get on the buses. They have to pay fees to participate in band. We don't do that in Brockton because we know what our student body has or doesn't have, and we don't want them to not have. So it's a balance. It's a balance, and sometimes it's a tough balance, especially when you have to move kids in different schools and you have to consolidate to try to preserve, to have that extra money to continue with some sports programs or to continue with band programs and fine arts and all that good stuff that makes Brockton High and Brockton, the school system, special. That's why our kids can succeed, because there's so much extracurricular they can get involved with for free that keeps them interested in the schools, that keeps them coming to school. It's that carrot that keeps some of the kids involved. If you took that away, like, I'm not going to school, I don't get to do what I really love to do, and I come because I love to do, whether it's basketball, whether it's band, whether it's drama or the arts or whatever. So it's been a tough balance along the way for the last 8 years or so. But I'm not going anywhere. I'm not dead yet. So I'll still be here to bug you, Mark, make sure that everything goes smoothly. But we do the best we can together. I'm looking forward to working with the both of you. This will be exciting moving forward. I love working with Joyce and Timmy and Judy and Mark, and we've had a lot of great school committee people in the past. Mr. Bath, Richard was here. Tony Donegan was here. We've had people, Lisa's gone, but, she was here, and Brett, and he'll be here. He's a pain in our butt about sports, but he's always going to be bumbling around the gym, and we'll see him, probably Friday night, I'm sure. And that'll be fun, because we'll go to that, and that'll be a great dedication. But, we're in this together, and we've had some great people along the way on the school committee, and you guys are going to do great things. And I just wanted to make sure the school committee was always a place where everyone felt welcome. Newcomers on the committee, and we can disagree, but we don't have to do it in a way that we are disrespectful to each other. You can agree to disagree, and you can vote a different vote. I mean, and some votes are important but after it's done, we have to go on and we move on and we continue to do the right thing for the system. So that's the goal, and to do so in such a way that the community has confidence that the committee is doing the best with what they have, and that we dignify the committee, and that we make sure that people out in the community have a voice and we listen to them. I mean, sometimes, you know, people in the community are spot on about certain issues, and, you know, they bring it to our attention, and I say to people, you know what, I didn't know that was happening, or I'm glad you brought it up, so now we can at least look at it and figure out what to do. Some people in the community bring up things that aren't true at all, or, you know, are an exaggeration, but sometimes people are spot on, and we got to work with those people, and we can work with pretty much everybody to make things better. And as a school committee person, as long as you try to make things, and my philosophy is, if I can make things better this year than they were last year, I'm doing my job. It's pretty simple. If you do the best you can for the benefit of kids, you don't get in trouble. That's the way it's been. And that's the way I continue to be, so. Good luck, Marky Mark. But, you know, whatever you guys need, you know, I'll be here and whatever. But thank you for the nice things you said. I do appreciate it. But, you know, you don't have to put it on my tombstone just yet.
Hopefully not for a long, long time.
Trust me, it'll be a long time. The good die young. I'll be around for a while.
There we go. Linda, the other one is somewhere? The hammer?
Oh, yeah, you can borrow that.
You have it, right?
Yes.
Well, we'll just put this one
Well,
here
yeah,
for
that's
the-
just
so
for
the picture
effect.
looks
Yeah, that's
good.
for the picture. Don't worry. I have the
I gotta
hammer.
make sure we put it back. Otherwise, we won't be able to adjourn.
I know, I'll go to adjourn and be like, oh, crap.
Okay, so can I request that the other members come up? Sure, of course.
You can request anything you want. This is about honoring you and your service.
Come on, Judy. I'll go the other side.
Right here, right here.
All right, I'll just stand over, Judy. I'm good. That's good. No, we're good. I'm following. Good?
Thanks, everyone.
I have my gavel.
All right, good.
I didn't bring it.
That's all right.
Okay. All right, so going on to any other unfinished business?
I have a couple of quick things, just
Okay.
so everybody knows. We talked about this last week. The budget comes out tomorrow from the governor. Hopefully, that's the 95% of what our budget's going to be under the new Student Opportunity Act. And then, I don't know what time that comes out. I don't know when Aldo will get the actual report from the Department of Ed, but as soon as we get that, we'll share that with you. And then Aldo and I have been summoned to the Mass Association of School Superintendents midwinter meeting, which is Thursday. And that meeting will focus on the Student Opportunity Act. Jeff Riley will be there, Commissioner of Education. And we should know that at that time, the template for the three-year plan. So we should get more information there as well. So whatever we get, we will share in an email. We'll also have in Friday's packet. And we want to make sure that we have high hopes for what comes out over the next couple of days.
Cautiously optimistic.
Yes, exactly. So there's been all kinds of numbers out there, but we'll actually see what these real numbers are over the next couple of days. So obviously, we have high hopes that we'll be in good shape, but again.
The number that doesn't come out is usually the charter school costs. That usually comes out 2, 3, 4, even 5 days later.
Right.
So, and that for us last year was 16 million.
So we'll continue to share once we continue to get the information out. We'll just keep sending it to you through Melinda. Just wanted to make that point. And we also had scheduled, thank you to the committee, you scheduled a finance subcommittee meeting for next Wednesday night, and that's at 6:30, because at 6 o'clock we're doing the photo, and then at 6:30 we'll have the finance subcommittee be our first meeting, hopefully with the new budget number that we can start to
move forward like 90% of other school districts do with a normal budget. That
Yes.
we can finally do some pre-planning and recruiting and be nice to function.
The normal, well, and not only am I cautiously optimistic about the number, I'm being cautiously optimistic that maybe we're not still working on the budget in August.
Yeah.
But again, I don't want to ask for too much too fast here. But yeah, hopefully, and that'll, again, earlier we get started and know where we're going to be, we can,
Get moving.
on some really good, positive things to, move the district forward and give our kids a much better education and opportunities than, we've been able to provide. I mean, we've done the best we could with what we've had, but it'll be nice, hopefully, to be able to do more for our kids.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Any other unfinished business?
Just like to mention that a lot of us attended the NAACP breakfast. It was a very good event. A lot of good speakers. I like Phyllis. I love her outfit. She looked great, but she had a very good speech and
Yes.
very moving. And I think it's going to be interesting. But I think she has a sort of an approach that I like, which is, let's include people. She's definitely making an effort. She personally reached out to me and has invited me to different things, which I've attended and I've had a very good time at. And I've enjoyed basically this friendship. And I just think that I like what I see, and I thought it was a very nice event, a very good breakfast, lots of very nice people. Actually, I just felt there was a lot of interaction amongst people, whereas sometimes in the past when I've gone, it seems like it's isolated and pockets of people, and people just stick and talk to the few people that they know. Whereas this was, I don't know, just to me it was a much lighter and inclusive event, and I think that that's a great thing for the city, So I thought it was a good time. And I think the leadership is pretty good.
Yeah. No, the event was very, very, very well done. You're right.
Absolutely. It was a great crowd.
Yeah.
It was a really great turnout.
I was going to say, there had to have been at least
500,
500, if not more.
Yeah.
Close to 500.
Yeah.
It's always a wonderful event. No, definitely great
Very well done.
speakers.
The tone was nice. I don't know, I liked the tone of the
It
event.
was relaxed, it was very nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice, yeah.
And shout out to the girl that sang "Pray" by Sam Smith.
Oh, yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
She was great.
Yeah, great.
She was superb.
Great student voice, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole program was just awesome, from the singer.
With regard to the school committee picture, can we bump that to the following week? To the
Oh, yeah, we'd have to wait.
can we do it at February 11th? I mean, is that prohibitive of getting it
Can
in
we?
time for the
I
year?
don't have a problem with it.
Yeah. I don't know, do we have any
I can have my picture
subcommittee-
taken anytime.
Absolutely.
Can we maybe change the picture to the first school
Jess, is that
committee
okay?
meeting of February?
The picture, who was taking, do we have
I'm
some?
making it the group photo next week.
Yeah, we're gonna change that to the 11th.
The 11th?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
Sure.
okay,
Same
so
time.
you can change that too?
Six.
What do we have on the
6
11th? That's a
o'clock.
school committee?
Are there any subcommittees that night?
Finance.
Your
We have
finance
to do
is
it at
6.
5:30
Yeah.
on the 11th.
Would that work?
That work for everybody on the 11th,
5:30?
5:30? Because there's a subcommittee meeting at 6.
We should be able to do headshots then as well. We've been trying to find a new, person, yeah, so we might be able to schedule.
That same night, we'll
Can
do
they
the
Photoshop?
headshots with a Life Touch photographer as well.
Excellent.
So,
All right.
That's scheduled for here?
That was here.
it'll be right here, right?
Music room
Probably the
usually.
normal room yeah. All right.
I just wanted to add one thing just before we forgot. So this Friday, on January 24th, it says 6:50 is going to be the dedication ceremony for Mr. Victor Ortiz.
Yep.
So it's going to be over at the main gym.
Yeah, right before the basketball game against Cambridge that starts at 7 PM, so.
Great.
Yep, thank you.
Perfect. Just a reminder on that.
All right. Any other unfinished business?
And just, I filled the facility subcommittee in, so if you're driving down Belmont Street, unfortunately, the vendor we use to change our billboard is no longer in business. So that, the holiday concert is not for next year's holiday concert, is for this last year's, and we do our best to get that changed out. So it still has the holiday concert from December 13th, and it drives me crazy, but unfortunately, we do not currently have a vendor. We are now contacting vendors. The vendor we use was kind of slow, but at least they were cheap. The current vendors that we've talked to are very expensive. It's actually ridiculous how much they want to charge. So Jess is working very hard to find a vendor to get the billboard changed. Obviously, it actually pushes us to try to get this electronic billboard in place. Obviously, we have the smaller one that just is now up and running at Forest Ave, which is great, but we really want a big one out on Belmont Street. Obviously, we have to go through the process with zoning and ordinance, but I think Aldo has been talking about this, Kathy talked about it before, so we're really gonna get moving on that, because to find a vendor now that does these old wallpaper billboards, it's just almost impossible. It's like a film strip projector. It's just, they just don't exist anymore. I mean, so, like an 8-track. It's just, it's impossible to find someone to fix it. So we're working on it, but that's why you see. So we'll end up taking down what's up there now, our facilities department, and we might just, obviously leave it blank so it doesn't continue with a holiday if we're in June and it still has the holiday concert up. So we're trying our best to get somebody to update it and get moving. So just so if people ask you, you know what's going on.
All right, very good. Any other unfinished business? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to new business. I have one item. You all received an updated subcommittee assignment list this afternoon. I learned after we had already voted on this, I learned that there were some conflicts. The mayor and I reviewed the list and also took another look at, some people had an exorbitantly large amount of committees they were assigned to compared to others, and so we, in addressing both those issues at the same time, we do need a motion to approve the revised subcommittee list, and so hopefully we can, if anyone's willing to make a motion on that.
Motion to approve the revised subcommittee list for 2020 subcommittee assignments.
Second.
All right, we have a motion properly seconded. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Okay, so moved. Thank you very much. Any other new business? Okay. Oh, yes, Mr. Rodriguez.
Can we get an update on the Shaw Center? Where are we?
Yes, so right now, it's still under control of the city. The mayor now, it's still under control of the city. The mayor is working with the Brockton Fire Department to go through the sprinkler system, to go through the issues with the roof, to go through any issues with the fire alarm. The roof in the front where the offices are, it still leaks, so that has to be resolved. We did visit the store that we want to put, have Decker take, they'd keep the store at the high school, but then also expand it to the current Rock Stadium store. That has no heat right now. Several ceiling tiles missing, so at this point, I know that the mayor's working hard to honor any commitments to organizations that already rented it. So it is rented through, I think, through March. The mayor's working hard with the fire department to see what he can do to make sure that we can fulfill whatever events are scheduled in there through March. And then I think he's going to bring it to the city council to try to do something in the spring to basically do what they need to do to fix it. So right now, we're just waiting for the final evaluation from the fire department, which should come this week. And then he's working with the current people who have, it's been rented to for the next 2 months, so he'll be the one to determine whether those move forward, and if the fire department says it's okay, they'll obviously hold those events. And then right after those events are done, which is near the end of March, we should be probably go in front of the city council to look at the MOU that was drawn up between me and former Mayor Rodriguez, and then go from there whether, when we could take possession of it, or if this mayor wants to go in another direction, another conversation we'll have to have. But I'm hopeful that, hopefully, as we move into the spring, we can, it can get fixed and we can move forward with it, because I really still think it would be an asset for the school department in the culinary arts program and the vocational program. But obviously, there's work that needs to be done for the facility before we can actually take, ownership of occupying it.
Yeah, it's not, definitely not ready to move DECA or the culinary arts program in there at this point. There's, there's a good amount of work to be done before, we'd be ready to go forward with that. But as the superintendent said, we're hopeful that we'll be able to continue in the direction we're going with that, because that'll really be an asset once we get there. But unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit of a lengthier road, I think, than we'd,
Unfortunately, the years that the tenant that had it before, the years of just not taking care of the facility and the HVAC system and what you need to do to maintain a facility hasn't been done. I mean, this place is 50 years old, and we do everything we possibly can do, and the HVAC system works. Obviously, not all areas are the best. Some areas are a little cooler, some areas are a little hotter than others, but it still runs because it's maintained every year. But that's been a building that wasn't under the control of the city, and it's only 20 years old, and it's just the maintenance hasn't been done over the years to keep it, up to date and keep it, functional. So, again, the mayor's hoping, that the fire department should have a report back by this week, and he's hoping to, allow whatever's been rented in there for the next couple of months to go forward. And then if the fire department says it's okay, and then after that, he'll determine what we do next.
Very good. Any other new business? No? All right, I don't think we have any business for executive session, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second? Second, so moved. We are adjourned.